Hello, A-Sven-gers, it's me, Svenny McG, and today we're here to talk about what are we at? Ninth generation? Ninth generation of games this week with the Xbox Series as well as the PlayStation 5. Now, time and again, I usually get asked by other parents, what should I get? What am I looking at? I've been out of the game for a bit, my kid's interested. So we're going to quickly discuss some of the specs. We're not going to go deep dive into that stuff. But we're going to discuss what to expect out of the new generation here of consoles. And in the end, which one am I getting? Let's take a look. Now again, I don't want to get too specific with the hardware because long and short is you can find that information anywhere. Now I know that all the hardcore gamers are going to be interested in these details, but really if you're a parent looking for a console for your kid, it doesn't really matter to you. This new generation, guess what? It's faster than the old generation. Their graphics are better than the old generation. That's really all you need to know. Now, for the sake of hardware specs, let's quickly throw them out there. Both the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 use a custom 8-core AMD Zen 2 CPU. They both have 16 gigs of GDDR6 memory, and they both have custom AMD RDNA 2 GPUs. Finally, both are using solid-state drives to give you the quickest loading experience. It's said that the Xbox Series X actually clocks a little bit faster, but again, all things being equal, these are going to be lightning quick compared to the previous generation of the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. But overall, compared to each other, the Xbox Series X is slightly faster. So with that, we can anticipate HDR, ray tracing, full 4K experiences, up to 8K support, and they're boasted anywhere from 60 to 120 frames per second. Now, even though the hardware is relatively close, there are some other differences, of course, to note. So let's look at some, starting with the Xbox. Now, of course, there is the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. The S is an all-digital version and actually has hardware that's lesser than the Xbox Series X. It's important to note that. It will not do 4K gaming, as well as some other limitations, of course, including lack of a disk drive. One of the major things Xbox has, of course, is the Game Pass. Now that is, in Canada here, a $16.99 feature monthly that includes Xbox Gold Live. And in addition to online play, you get access, kind of like Netflix, to a series of games at your disposal. Now in that, Microsoft has some of its own exclusives, such as the Halo series, Gears of War, as well as the Forza series. You have Mojang with the Minecraft and Minecraft Dungeons. You've got Rare with Perfect Dark, Banjo-Kazooie, the new Battletoads, and a game that a lot of people have recently brought up to me, Sea of Thieves. Now, Microsoft recently made an announcement that they had partnered with EA Play, and therefore they're going to have a bunch of games from that series being added on. So you're looking at Mass Effect, you're looking at all your sports games, your Madden, your NHL, your FIFA. Now, of course, huge news last month when Microsoft announced that they purchased ZeniMax Media, which of course includes Bethesda and id. Therefore, you're looking at getting like the Elder Scrolls, such as Skyrim. You're getting the Wolfenstein, you're going to get Doom, you're going to get Fallout, so a lot of other games coming through to Game Pass, and they have hinted that in the future perhaps some will be exclusive. Whether they are or not, that's debatable, but the fact remains they will release them day one on Game Pass when they go live to the public. Now, of course, Game Pass also has some other great indies such as The Escapist 2 and Totally Reliable Delivery Service. Microsoft also now has the beta out for cloud gaming on your Android as well as play on PC. So effectively, you can take your Game Pass account and play it on your Android using a controller, and you can put your saves on there and then go back and pick it up back on your actual Microsoft console. Pretty cool feature. Again, I believe it's probably to be competitive with the idea of like a Nintendo Switch. You can argue that however which way you want, but it is a neat feature, however, that's been debuted so far. The Microsoft Series has backwards compatibility with the Xbox One outside of Kinect games, with many Xbox 360 games, and even with a lot of original Xbox games. So that's pretty cool. Whatever has been featured on the original Xbox One Xbox One S, Xbox One X, see the theme there. Any games that are playable there will be already playable on your Xbox Series X outside of the Kinect games, as the new console won't have that hardware feature. It's worth noting that your Xbox One controllers will work on your Xbox Series X console, and a real unique feature that a lot of people have been discussing is the game pause. Believe they call it quick resume, in which you can pause a game you're on, play another game, and then go back and pick up the other one where you were. Effectively, it's think of it like the emulators and putting a save state in. So pretty cool feature to have. You don't actually have to get to a checkpoint in a game. You can just pause it and move on to another game and pick the other one back up afterwards. Very cool feature to have. Finally, again, Microsoft showing their push for accessibility. It was noted that there are braille bumps on the inputs on the back of the console for people to be able to identify which plug goes where. Now, the PlayStation 5 has two variants as well, a regular version and then the same hardware minus a disk drive, and of course those have different price points as well. PlayStation 5, before launch now, has actually activated remote play. Now, if you've gone and run an update on your PS4, you'll see that that remote play is already accessible. So plug your PS5 in one room, save up, and then turn on your PS4. You can actually play your PS5 game streaming through on your PS4 within your household. Kind of a cool feature. Now, the PlayStation 5 has backwards compatibility with most of the PlayStation 4 games, but not all, and does not have backwards compatibility with PS3, PS2, or PS1 at this time. Now, from The Verge, the PS4 controller can be used on a PS5, but only for playing PS4 games on your PS5. You cannot use it to play PS5 games. However, they did note that it is kind of odd that when doing the remote play, you're going to have to use a PS4 controller on your PS4 to play that PS5 game. So again, kind of a weird little hiccup there, but something worth noting. Now, the PlayStation 5 again has that solid state drive inside of it and will use an SSD storage expansion. However, that is not available on day one of launch. Now, it's worth noting that the Xbox Series X has a 1 terabyte, so you have about 800 or so gigs free after the OS running, etc. And the PlayStation 5, you have 800, so you're looking at about 600 gigs free and available. And with the size of downloads and games that you're running these days, of course, that's going to get chewed up pretty quick, and you don't have an expansion option. But again, fear not, it's coming. If you're going to start running your PS4 games on there, you can use an external hard drive, hooking it up through USB, and save your PS4 games there. Your PS5 games, however, because of size and because of running speeds, they'll only play on an SSD. They won't play on an external hard disk drive. Now, of course, some of the big things when you're talking Xbox and PlayStation, some of your fanboys here are going to point out a lot of good exclusives coming. Of course, you have that new Spider-Man Miles Morales. Coming soon, you have the new Horizon Dawn game. And even when you get the PlayStation 5, you have that Astrobot demo on there. Now, one of the major changes with the PlayStation 5 is that new DualSense PlayStation 5 controller. The DualSense is said to have an immersive haptic feedback, so you're not just talking your DualShock in order to successfully create vibration, but you're actually talking about more of a high sense. They say in that Astrobot game, you can actually feel if it's wind blowing from side to side based upon the vibration. So pretty neat. Again, Nintendo kind of had that feature. Like, for better for worse, not many people use it with the Joy-Cons. 1-2 Switch really featured some really unique ways of doing that though. Between the Xbox and the PlayStation 5, that really seems to be one of the defining features here, is that new controller. Finally, it's worth noting that your PlayStation VR headset will be able to be used on your PlayStation 5 console. Now, you will need an adapter, but thankfully, PlayStation has actually offered those for free to users, and all you have to do is register online using your serial and provide an address, and they'll mail you the adapter for free. So pretty great on PlayStation's behalf. So overall, what's it going to come down to here? Which is greater? Which is better? Which is the best? Which one am I going to get? Honestly, neither right now. And the thing is, I don't usually jump into a new console right away as soon as things are out, because quite frankly, I have a lot of a backlog to play as is. But further, there's always a little bit of hiccups and usually underwhelming games to start. Again, with Xbox, you can jump right in with that Game Pass and have hundreds of games to play, but I can still get the Game Pass on my Xbox One. Therefore, unless I want to play them in 4K at HDR, etc., there isn't much of an incentive there. PlayStation 5, on the other hand, has some really unique games coming out, a couple real special features, but again, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and a bunch of the other ones, they're all still coming out on the PlayStation 4. There's too much of an install base at this time to not release games on both systems. So again, unless you're going to really push that you need to have that 4K, 60 frames a second, and you need to have, to me personally, not the biggest deal. And also, like I said, usually a bunch of these features that are missing right out of the gate, it takes time. Usually they get the systems out there, and then due to fan experiences, etc., they try and tweak things after the fact so that they can give you the best experience, but that's usually about maybe 6 months to a year after a console is launched. So I don't usually jump into things. That said, you do what's best for you, and hey, I'm very happy. If you picked up one of these consoles, either one, let me know in the comments below. And if you didn't, let me know why not. Everyone has their reasons. Again, general availability was a big one this year, but given the current situation everyone's kind of in right now, being at home, both companies have acknowledged that they're going to come up short for demand, but at the same time, they really want to push the product out there, and they're excited to do so. If you've seen the launches, companies have been going back and forth, congratulating each other. The console wars are over. It's fantastic. The truly thing is, get what's best for you and have fun. This is Svenny McG. Thanks again for checking this video out. I hope you enjoyed it, and leave a comment below. I always appreciate anyone that subscribes and likes. And as always, we look forward to seeing you again. Once again, take care. Be good to each other. Bye now.